needs a nightstand, and it's cheaper to build one, not buy one. And this nightstand I have here is about 5 years old. So when you're gonna make a nightstand and you want to choose your wood, you want to make sure that there's no warping in it. So if you set it on a workbench that sits flat, and then you can look down the edge of it and make sure that it doesn't curve. And then you want to make sure that there's little to no knots on it, so it's stronger. And after you've selected your wood, you want to make sure that you cut your pieces bigger than what the final dimensions would be. So before you glue it, you want to make sure that you have, you make sure that once you glue it, that the pieces aren't too small. So then you can glue it together, and after the glue is dried, you're ready to cut them to your finished sizes. And then after that, you're ready to mortise and tin your legs and your side pieces. So what that is your legs, you take a drill bit and you cut a hole about from right here to about right here, not that big, in the middle of it, and it goes in about 3/4 of an inch into the leg, and that's for the tongue that will be on your side pieces to set in, and it makes it stronger when you glue it together. And for assembly, after you've got all your mortise and tins cut and all your pieces cut to the finished sizes and everything, then you're ready to glue the legs to the side pieces. So you'd set these side pieces together in between these legs, and same with here and there, and you glue that all together. And then after that, you wait for that to dry, and then you're ready to you want to make sure that after that dries, you want to make sure that you sand off any glue that there is, would be right in here, so that way when you stain it, none of it shows up. And then after that dries, you're ready to put your bottom and your top shelf on. So they make a little metal bracket for your top shelf that's curved 90 degrees, and there's a hole in each end for screws, so you can put one screw into your side piece and then one screw into your top, and you want to make sure that it's centered when you do that. And after you attach to your bottom and your top shelf, then you are ready to sand it. You want to start out with some pretty rough sandpaper, about 80 grit, and sand over everything. Make sure there's no glue like beneath here or on the corners here, because when you sand it, it won't take a stain there. And you want to work your way up from 80 grit to about 180 grit sandpaper. So you go from like 80 to 100, 150, and then 180 grit. And then after that, you want to make sure, look over it and make sure everything's smooth and there's no glue anywhere and everything fits how you like it. And after that, you're ready to stain it. And when you stain it, you can use either a rag or a brush, and you want to make sure that the container is stained. Make sure you shake it up or stir it, that way it doesn't separate. And when you do stain, you want to make sure you go with the grain. So you don't want to go this way with the stain. You want to use, if you're using a rag, you go this way, that way it doesn't leave streaks on it. And after you stain it, you want to wait about 12 hours or so. Make sure it gets soaked in and dry. And then if you don't like it, you can either sand it off and choose a different stain, or you can stain it, put another coat of stain on it to stain it darker. And after you've stained it and got it looking how you like it, then you can put your finish on it. You can use either lacquer or polyurethane. If you're going to use polyurethane, you just use a brush and you just brush it on. But if you're using lacquer, you can spray it on. And this has lacquer on it. And for that, you can just use an air gun and spray it on. And you want to make sure, like on the legs, if it's setting like this, and the sides, that you don't spray it on too heavy. That way it doesn't run. Because if it does, and then it'll dry, and then you'll have to wipe it. You have to sand it off that way. And you want to make sure that after you spray it with the first coat, that you sand it. You want to make sure that it dries completely before you touch it, because then you'll leave fingerprints on it. you want to use about 3 to 4 coats of lacquer. Make sure, and you sand in between each coat, and make sure that before you touch it, it does get dry. And then after your last coat, it should be pretty smooth on everywhere on it. And there's multiple ways to build a nightstand. This one is pretty basic and simple. You know, you have your legs, your side pieces, your bottom shelf, and then your top shelf. That's about all there is to it. Not a lot. It's not too fancy, and it is cheaper to build them and not buy them.